listening to the Casting for Fun podcast, the show that talks about entertainment, sports, music, and inspirational stories for all to enjoy. We're glad that you could join us today. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here is your host, Albert Pineda.
Welcome, everyone, to the Casting for Fun podcast. I am your host, Albert Pineda. And for this week's episode, I have something special planned for the podcast. This week is my parents' 47th wedding anniversary. I'm very excited that my parents get to celebrate this milestone together and that they're just a few short years away from the 50th anniversary, which is really cool. I mentioned many times before on the podcast that I look at this as like an audio journal. So I can record important messages from my own life, from my family members' lives, so that they're documented and we can have them for posterity purposes to listen to over and over again for years to come. And the story of my parents, I think, is a very important one, at least for our family. And I'm hoping that there's several friends as well who may be interested in hearing this podcast as well. So I'm looking forward to recording it. This has been probably one of the episodes that I've been looking forward to doing since I started the podcast. And it's important, I think, to have these things documented, as I've said many times before. And I also wanted to have just a refresher course on the history of my parents, how they met, how they fell in love, how they started dating, stuff like that. Because if you had asked me before, I probably could have gotten some of the details right, but I might have had some of the facts wrong. So it's good that I have this recorded forever, so we can always have it. And it will be important for me to hang on to this recording, and then for Avery and Liam, so they can hear, so they can know the story of their grandparents, which would be really, really good as well. Okay, so this is a special episode of Casting for Fun podcast. This is my conversation with my mom and dad. Joining me now on the Casting for Fun podcast are two very special guests, Ana and Fernando E. Pineda, more affectionately known to me as Mom and Dad. Mom, Dad, how are you both?
I'm doing good.
Doing great.
Awesome. And happy early anniversary to you both. This recording is taking place 2 days before your 47th anniversary this coming Tuesday. So congratulations to you both.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Albert.
You're welcome. And as I mentioned before, we had to get together with the other siblings, but we definitely want to try and plan something special for you guys in 3 more years for the big 5-0.
Okay, looking forward to that.
Very good. So thank you both for joining me on the podcast. This is a very special episode because family history, I think, is very important, and to make sure it's documented would be very important as well. So I'm very excited to go back and re-listen to this episode after it's recorded. And then years from now, I'm excited for Avery and Liam to get to listen to this too, so they can get to know Grandma and Grandpa better.
Oh, sounds good.
Okay, very good. So you guys got the questions I wanted to ask. I have several questions in regards to our family's history, or more specifically, your individual histories. And then, of course, marriage life and how that's been. So starting out, I wanted to ask both of you, Mom and Dad, you can just take turns. Who wants to go first? Can you both share some of your favorite early childhood stories and what life was like growing up in El Salvador?
We immigrated as children, so I don't have much that I remember. I was 8, but I had just turned 8. 7. I was basically 7 years old. I remember playing a lot outside. That was before there were a lot of TVs. Play with the neighborhood kids, playing tag and running around everywhere.
Very good.
Me, I lived up until I was 10 and a half in El Salvador. And I remember very well that I look forward to playing cowboys and Indians each night. And we had to wait till 8 o'clock at night for us to play, because the kid that owns all the toy guns had to work until 8 o'clock every night. So we had to wait till that. And it was fun. It was fun. That's when childhood memory that I have. And we were very poor, that we didn't have all the conveniences of today, but we were happy. uh, and I remember that one kid had the only TV set in our neighborhood. So if you want to watch TV, you had to go pay him a quarter or 10 cents or whatever to watch programs. And I remember watching the programs on TV over there, but for example, Highway Patrol and Father Knows Best. And those shows I see on YouTube almost every day here nowadays. So
Oh, it's very interesting that, yeah, I mean, I guess some people who have that means, they can actually like make some money because everybody would want to watch TV, right?
Yeah.
And were those shows that were showing in El Salvador at the time?
There were more shows, but those are the ones that I remember the most.
Oh, okay.
They were dubbed. They were dubbed into Spanish.
Oh,
We
okay.
had a TV, our home. We had a TV, but we didn't watch much TV because I remember mostly some Spanish comedian being on. But most of the time we were just outside playing.
Oh,
It
that's
wasn't
good.
really, there was maybe 1 or 2 channels and
Mhm.
not much there.
Oh, okay. Very good. Going back actually a little bit to the beginning. So I wanted to, I guess, get clarification for family history aspects. If you both could share what the family dynamic was like. So siblings and the living arrangements, how that worked.
In El Salvador or here?
El Salvador.
All right, in El Salvador, it was just my father, my mother, and our 5 siblings. That we were 2 boys, 3 girls. And it was pretty straightforward, not much.
Oh, okay. And how about for you, Dad?
Well, we had a 2-bedroom house, and it was 6 children. I was the youngest, and it was kind of hard having 2 bedrooms, and I don't remember exactly where we slept, but it, it wasn't very fun.
Oh, okay. Oh, no problem. And how many siblings again, Dad?
6,
That's right, 6. You're the youngest of 6.
right?
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. So when we jump ahead to immigrating to the United States, why did both families choose California? And what was like your, I guess, early teenage years like in California?
Okay, my father was working as a mechanic for an auto dealership that happened to close down at the time. And he had a friend that had immigrated to California, San Francisco. And he told him, come, there's work here. And so my father decided to try it out before the rest of the family came. And he was on his way to San Francisco, stopover in LA. He met up with a friend there in LA, just at the stopover. His friend told him, hey, they're hiring where I'm at right now. He was also a mechanic. Stay in LA. And my father did. He stayed in LA, and that's how we ended up there.
Oh, very interesting. So it could have been the Bay Area instead, right?
Yeah, we could have.
Friend instead. Oh, okay. And how about for you, Dad?
My sister Mercy was the one that first came here in 1955 at, I think she was 16 or 17, maybe 17. And she came to live with an aunt. That's an aunt, Aida. And then after that, Anna came over 2 years later in 57 and lived with them. And then Anna got married in 58. And Ana Maria was born, our first, the first grandchild of my parents was born in 1959. The same day that my mom and I came to California in June of 1959 was the day that Ana Maria was born, and then my my father and my three brothers came by themselves a year later in 1960, and they came to live with us in Montebello, California. That's where we had our house there. And what else, Mom?
For immigration, that's it. I was going to add that for me, I was young and living in El Salvador with a mom and dad and my 5 brothers and sisters is the same thing for a small child. You know, there was a roof over our heads. We had our mom, our dad. We had food to eat. So I didn't see much of a difference. I guess I was too young. And I'm starting to think that maybe children adapt better, little young children, you know, like they get displaced like in the war or something. They have a better chance than a child that's older and has more attachment to their homeland or something.
No, interesting. Yeah.
It's funny she mentioned that, because I was going to say that at first I didn't want to come to the U.S. because I liked it over there. Like I said, we were poor, but we liked it. I liked it very much over there. The life over there was very different than it is over here in California or Arizona, because over there we knew everybody in the neighborhood, and we played also outside in, you know, those games that your mom says, hide and go seek, stuff like that, and for Christmas and New Year's, we all knew each other, that we all went out and say hello and wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and it was fun. That was all over the neighborhood. And over here, you don't do that. You just do your own thing, and you never see your neighbors or stuff like that. You know, it's much different. Maybe it is. Maybe I don't know if it still is the same thing right now, but it wasn't the way when I was in there.
No, I agree that I got to see the difference myself when serving as a missionary in Brazil. Just that in the streets, like, you know, if you were able to go inside to someone's home, and they more often than not, they know their neighbors. They would say, oh yeah, I know so-and-so, I know this person. So everybody on the street knew each other. There'd be lots of, like, you know, parties and hanging out and lots of communicating and talking and friendly chit chat. We don't really have that as much in the United States, I think. I guess it depends on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. So then your teenage life, what was that like here, growing up in California? What did you guys do for fun as opposed to when you were kids, when you were younger?
Well, teenagers, we had, I had cousins that were, you know, about the same age, and it happens that the cousins that I had were boys, and then most of us were girls in my family. We were 3 girls, and the cousins were boys, and they were always wanting to have parties. We had a lot of parties. They would invite us, and we would invite them because they filled up the opposite sex. And we went to the beach a lot, and Disneyland. That's the thing about living in LA. You go to Disneyland. With growing up in high school, I went to a girls' Catholic high school. Every year they had Catholic Day at Disneyland when I was there. And they had discounted tickets and that day off at school, and we would all go every year at Disneyland.
Oh, fun. Very good. And how about for you, Dad?
Well, it was very different with me and my mom because when I came here, I started to investigate the church in 1959. I got baptized in the same year in October. That was 4 months after I got here, because I went to church and I liked it, and I saw the missionaries, and I got baptized in October. And so my whole life was surrounded with church members. All the things that I did was church dances. When I was 14, I went to the stake dances, and but then I was also my being the youngest of my three brothers, and my father and I, and the three of us, and the four of us went to the baseball games a lot. I went to the Coliseum to see the Dodgers play the Pirates in 1960, and then I went to Dodger Stadium with my brothers and my father also. And in 1961, I was able to go see the Yankees play the Angels at Wrigley Field in LA. And I saw Mickey Mantle hit a home run. And everything else was not at church, I guess. All the activities that we had at church.
Oh, perfect. Actually, that sounds really good, Dad. It's interesting to me that I think our parents and our siblings can have the influence on us like that. Because I mean, I love baseball and the Dodgers to this day because of you and all the times that you took me to games when I was little. So it was interesting to hear that. That's how I guess you developed your love for baseball, right? That's what your dad and your brothers like to do for fun.
Yeah, one of my brothers that passed away, Roberto, passed away 2 years ago. He took me to see the Giants play the Dodgers, and I saw Sandy Koufax pitch a no-hitter against the Giants in '63. That was great.
Oh, wonderful. Very good.
And thanks to him, I went to that game especially.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So what I wanted to ask now is, so both of you and your families are living here in Southern California area. So how did it come to be that you guys would meet and eventually date and eventually get married? I want to make sure I get this documented because I kind of know the story, but it's important to record it so that we have it properly documented down so we don't forget. And so definitely it's what I would want to someday when Avery asked me, hey, how did grandma and grandpa meet? I can tell her for certain this is how it actually happened.
Well, our families, both being from El Salvador, a small community of El Salvador, it was bound that they would meet. I had a cousin that was living with us at the time. Her name is Clemencia. She's her parents were in the process of immigrating, but they hadn't yet. And she was living with us. Met Uncle Roberto, your father's brother. He was just talking about, and they started dating and they got married. The day they got married, your father was in the wedding. He was 16. And my sister was in the wedding, Tia Vilma. They're about the same age. And I wasn't because I was only 11. So there was not much communication. He was older. And like he said, he liked to hang out with his church friends. And that wasn't me. He would go out to be with his friends, do church activities. Then he left to go on a mission. And coming home from his mission, he got drafted. He went into the army. So even though our families knew each other and we would get together and have parties and stuff for the little kids, have birthday parties, I didn't see him. He didn't see me. He was off in his own little world. And then he got home from the army one day, and we were his two sisters. No, his one sister-in-law, my sister, and I were taking a class at a community center. And after the class, my sister and I needed a ride home, and his sister volunteered your dad to give us a ride. And that's how your father and I actually met. He gave us a ride home. And soon after, he asked me out on a date. He said if I wanted to go out. he had been, like I said, on a mission and in the army, and he was home, and he wanted to start dating seriously to get married. And that's what he told me.
I was desperate.
He said, I want to date to get married. But he invited me. Our date was to go to the temple grounds. And then he told me, this is where I want to get married. Are you still interested?
Oh,
Dating. And I said, sure, why not? I didn't even know what he was talking about. And so we dated for a while, and I got the missionary lessons for quite a while. And then after that, I got baptized. Then we waited another year so we could go to the temple and get married there. So we dated for quite a long time before we got married.
oh, very good, very good. And that would have been on July 26, 1975.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, very, very exciting that we're coming up on the 50th anniversary. Very good. Very good. Dad, can you tell me a little bit more about your time in the military? I was actually glad that Mom brought that up. That wasn't one of the initial questions I had sent to you guys, but if you could explain what it was like during the time, what exactly did you do?
In the military?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 4 months after I got back from the mission that I was drafted. I tried to join the Marine Corps as a reserve because I wanted to avoid being sent to Vietnam. And some of my friends did, and they joined the Marines for the reserves. And I wasn't able to join them because my name was about to be drafted into the Army. And so I had no choice. I was drafted in May of 71. And then I had my basic training in Fort Ord, California. I was close to Monterey. That was as close, I think. And then I was having after that I had advanced infantry training in Fort Ord also. That's I was told that it was a Southeast Asia oriented training, so that means that I was going to be taken to Vietnam.
Oh no.
And but after that, I saw a list of all the soldiers going to Vietnam, and my name wasn't in it. So that's a big relief. So I spent my whole 2 years after that in Fort Hood, Texas. And I was there for 2 years. They tried to re-enlist me by offering more money, more $5,000 for re-enlisting. And I didn't want to re-enlist. I just wanted to come back and work at home.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Army, I met this kid. It was very, very, very good friend. His name was Jim Madden. He was a member of the church, and I'm glad he was there because he was a good influence on me and good companionship also. And we did things together, worked together there at different places to make extra money on the weekends. And one time he defended me when two guys tried to jump me or something. And they didn't happen because he was there. So he said he was going to stand by me as long as everything was right. You know, he did. So that was really I appreciated that very much. That we became friends. I haven't seen him in 20 years. I'm trying to get a hold of him to see where he is. But we went to see them in Portland, Oregon. I don't know if you remember our trip to Portland, Oregon in 1987.
I vaguely remember. In fact, actually, that was going to be one of the later questions about family trips we've taken. But if I remember, we drove, right? The whole way?
We drove.
Okay.
We had a Dodge Ram van, minivan. It was brown. Remember it?
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember that van. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was cold over there because it was during Thanksgiving. It was cold.
Mhm.
Um, and we had a lot of fun over there. Went to see Mount St. Helens the after the eruption.
Mhm.
Um, and what else?
Oh, the next one I wanted to discuss was your early marriage life. So after getting married in 1975, that summer, I wanted to find out what it was like for you guys, where you lived, the various places, and then I guess the early stages of growing the family. So when Fernando was born and Adrian and eventually me and Danny, what was the early marriage like for the two of you?
I'll take that. When we got married, we first had an apartment on Baldwin and Loftus in El Monte. Funny thing is that when we were on our honeymoon, we had forgotten about a house for ourselves. So we didn't know where we're going to live. So we remember that. So one day we looked for an apartment. We found it real fast.
Oh, good.
It was only $190 a month,
Oh, wow.
and that without security.
Mhm.
So it was easy for us to start our married life like that.
Mhm.
But then we were there for about a year because we had made plans to purchase the house that my brother Mauricio owned on Lincoln Lane in Rosemead. Lincoln Lane is off of Bartlett. Remember Bartlett Street?
Yeah, I do. Mhm.
That's where my parents used to live. And it was only a block away from their house. So we bought that house from him, and then we lived there for about 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. 77. In 77, we bought a house, brand new house in Walnut. But that was about 30 minutes away from my work in downtown LA. I never got used to the distance, and I had become inactive in church for a year, I guess. And I didn't like that at all. So we had to move closer, and that's when I became active again in Temple City Ward, where you moved to Temple City in '79. So we were there for 1 year only, but in '79 we moved to Temple City, and we had then only Adrian and Fernando. You were next. You
Yeah.
were born in 1980.
Yeah.
So then you were born, and you came along, and 3 years later it was Danny, and 10 years later it was Monica. So let mom take it from.
Well, what I remember is that we didn't do much because, except for moving, we didn't have the time, that luxury. Your father, from the beginning, from the time when we got married, he already owned his own business, and it was very demanding. He had to be there 24/7. And sometimes we could take a little weekend trip to go to Solvang or some place close by with the kids. There's been a couple of times when we've taken longer trips, but that was because Dad's business was doing so bad that he was thinking of closing it down, and then something happened that he got a partner or something else that we were able to go ahead and take a trip. But the trips were very far in between. We didn't go very far very often, always at work.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. It's nice to hear those stories because, again, it's important to you and Dad where you lived before. Like, it's important to Allison and I. I mean, we talk so much about how important Covina is to us, but technically Avery doesn't know Covina at all. She only knows Upland. And then in the case of myself and then Danny and Monica, we would only know Temple City. I mean, Temple City was our home for so many years, and I'm sure we have so many wonderful memories from there. Do you have just general family stories that you enjoy that you'd like to share, whether they're older stories from early in the marriage or when the kids got a little older? What were some of your favorite experiences together as a family? I guess maybe mainly in Temple City, where I guess most of our memories were made, right?
Yeah, because that talked about the different homes that we lived in, but those first homes were 1 or 2 years each, and then 30 years in Temple City. That's mainly where we lived. And all my memories are embarrassing. I can't share them because all my goof offs. I was a terrible mom because I was so, I don't know, awkward and stuff. And I'm sure I made tons of mistakes with the kids. And so really it's like, oh, remember I did this terrible thing, or remember I did that, and stuff like that.
Well, I can testify right now, Mom, that we always had food and we always had clothes, and you always loved and cared and played with us and had fun. So you were definitely a great mom. And we remember we were Domino's #1 customers for a number of years, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the terrible, most embarrassing things, that we would go out on dates, your father and I, and well, what about the kids? Oh, let them have pizza.
It's 1 day a week, though.
No, I think that was really good. In fact, actually, if you were to ask me, what were the things that my parents enjoyed doing the most? I mean, you guys were consistent every single Friday with your friends from church to go out to double date, group date. I think it was a really wonderful, great thing to see. And then for me as a teenager, I also appreciated that you always went on your dinner dates early. So you were usually home by 7. So it worked out pretty good that we can still go out afterwards after having to watch Monica. So it was, for me, it was great to see my parents do that. So that's something that I want to show Avery and Liam when they get older, and they'll start recognizing, hey, that Allison and I continue to have our date nights and everything like that. I think it's actually really important.
Oh, that's nice that you say that, Albert. But
Thanks.
The way I remember it is we should have taken better care. Oh.
What about you, Dad? Do you have specific memories from living in Temple City with our family?
Yeah, they're funny ones, though.
That's fine.
And they concern you and Fernando and Adrian and Albert and Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, most of them are the older kids.
Uh-huh.
But the first thing I remember was when we first moved to Temple City Ward. Whenever they passed the sacrament, Adrian and Fernando always yelled, "Agua!" They were excited to have water. and it wasn't embarrassing for me. It was funny. And then, of course, the stuff that happened to you, which was, you probably know that by now. I have them written down here someplace, so I won't forget them. Oh yeah. First, we had an anxious moment with you when we lost you at Ralph's.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very little, but I can remember walking home all by myself.
Yeah. And after some time, we went home, hoping to find you home, and there you were. Well, how'd you get in?
No, that's not how it happened at all. See, okay, I gotta correct that.
All right.
Albert, Danny was a baby. He was little, so I didn't go to Dad went to the market with the 3 older kids, and I stayed home with Danny. He was a baby. When I saw you walking in, I said, where's everybody else? And he says, I don't know. Aren't they here? You had walked home. So I took you and we went back to the store. First, we went to Thrifty's to ask if anybody was looking for a little boy. And they said, no, try Ralph's. And we went to Ralph's, and then we finally found you. You were there looking for Albert. But it was, yeah.
But you were with me.
No, I was at home. But I went to the store to look for you because I knew you wouldn't come home without him.
Okay.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Well, there are good stories too. Like, I mean, I talked about this on an episode I recorded a few weeks ago, or actually a few months ago, about how I developed my love for music, which I attribute to both of you, but I think Dad especially. And I know that you knew that. I always was kind of embarrassed by the story when I was little, but I think it's a great story now as an adult. When I would sit on your knee, listening to your headphones, listening to Dean Martin.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite stories from growing up. So that's one that I would share with Avery and hope that she would also grow to have love of music, because Allison and I both love music too.
Yeah, that's one of those stories that I have written down so we don't forget. And that's still about 3 or 4.
Oh, okay. Well, keep going. I don't want to interrupt your story time. I'm sorry.
So, but you already said that, so that's okay. And one time, Mom and I were in bed, and you came in and laid in bed with us. And I said, Albert, this bed only holds 2 people. And you answered back, then someone's going to have to leave. Someone's going to have to leave.
Or one of you two. It's kind of funny. Like I say that Avery kind of gets her sassy attitude from Allison, but I guess I've known for having some little bit of sass when I was younger too, right?
Yeah, that was it.
And then one time when we were attending St. Gabriel branch, and I was in the branch presidency, I was conducting that one day, and it was testimony meeting, and then you got up and took over the meeting. You're just being funny though, without knowing it, without realizing it.
That one I only kind of
was
vaguely
funny.
remember. Do you remember how old I was, Dad, at that time?
You were about 4 or 5 because it happened in 84.
Okay, I only kind of remember that, but that is pretty funny.
And then mom told me one time that the sliding door in the family room in Temple City almost fell on you.
Oh yeah.
And then go ahead, Mattel.
Well, that wasn't the sliding door. It was those accordion doors that divided the living room and the dining room, the family room and the dining room.
Go ahead, say it.
No, that's a lot. I'm not correcting you for that.
And she told me that you had heard a voice that told you to get out of the way. And it must have been the Holy Ghost talking to you to move out of the way. And you did. And the door didn't hit you at all. So that was a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Doors were heavy. They were pretty heavy. Yeah.
Remember those doors?
I remember. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, very good. Very good. Well, I didn't want to take up all the spotlight for just me. I mean, do you have also stories from the other kids? Maybe not so much embarrassing, because I don't know if they like embarrassing, but.
I have a story that pertains to Fernando, and I hope he doesn't get upset at me for saying it, but I think it's a good story, and I'm very proud of him for having gone to that. It happened when he was a priest, and he had to go to an activity at church, spending time with the missionaries for 2 days, Friday night and Saturday. And then he told us that he had gone to the missionaries, the full-time missionaries, to some place in East LA. And then on Saturday, he after doing the same thing also all day, they had a dinner at the Duarte building or the Monrovia building, either one, I'm not sure. And after that, they had a testimony meeting. And during the testimony meeting, Fernando was having a difficult time because he didn't want to get up and bear his testimony, that he had to go to the bathroom to cry, I guess. But in the bathroom, he got the nerve to go and bear his testimony. And he did such a great job with that testimony that everybody called me from the stake to tell me about it. I wasn't there, of course, but everybody called me about it and told me that they were blown away by his testimony. And that's why I say that I hope he's not embarrassed by it, because I really was proud of him that day. Uh, what about you, Mom?
Very good. Very good. Oh, go ahead, Mom. Go ahead.
I do have one, but it's really another story of you, Albert. But it made me feel that, when somebody comes and tells you that your kids are doing great, you really appreciate it.
Okay.
And you were in Scouts, and so was Danny, and you guys were on the first year of Scout camp or something. And Brother Jackman came up to me and told me that he noticed you, that you were off to the side just watching Danny, making sure that he was okay, and that he had admired that very much. And I go, yeah, Albert was looking out for Danny very good.
Oh, thanks. Yeah,
I really like
definitely.
the story about you, Albert, when you in the primary program one day, that you were the head speaker or the moderator there, and it was during the ancient times, and mom made a custom for you, and you spoke all the time, and you did a great job, that everybody was happy with you there, especially Sister Rios or Sister Mendenhall.
Mendenhall now, yeah.
Yeah, Mendenhall. Yeah, she
But
was the president then.
they were cool. Him and Mike Matthew Parson. They
Mhm.
both did it together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was very nice too, though, because you knew your lines. I
Oh,
always
yeah,
made sure
definitely.
that you guys knew your lines. Because
Mhm.
people would tell me afterwards, I could hear you mouthing the lines.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Okay. Well, what I wanted to do also was to have you take just a moment to reflect on each of the five kids, like something you enjoy or what you admire most about them, to kind of give the history again for our personal family.
Okay, I like to go first because I was thinking of that, and I go, you each have different traits, different strengths that make you special, that make you who you are. And I found that Fernando, I don't know if it's because he's the oldest, and this usually happens with the oldest, but he's very driven. He's a go-getter. And Adriana, she's very sweet, and she's very caring and always wanting to help. And you were the same thing, like I said with Brother Jackman, saying that you had been looking out for Danny. And you were also like very independent. That was, I think, your strength. You always took care of stuff yourself, for whoever needed it. And Danny, he was so loving. When Monica was born, I thought he would be disappointed that she was a little girl, but he wasn't. He says, oh, I love my little sister. And he always expressed his love for his sister, for the baby. And he was always very loving, very, very loving. And Monica, she glues us all together. She pushes us to be together and stay together. And yes, you do.
Very good. Very good. I definitely agree with all those assessments, Mom.
Okay.
Okay, my turn. One thing that I admire from my 5 kids is that I think they learn a lesson from us while they were young, and try to teach them to work hard at whatever they do. I'm proud that all of them have a college degree, whether it's associates or bachelor's or master's. Doesn't matter, as long as they're all becoming better. They're all getting more education. Fernando, one thing I admire about him, he's very resourceful in learning to do things on his own. I'm very, very proud of him that he's decided to make his own his own what is that?
Yard.
No. Ah, my gosh. That so he's very active when creating things on his own, like carpentry or stuff like that.
Oh, do you mean like the above ground mini pool that he did?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Not only that, but he also had a the barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's him.
And he built some shelves in the garage.
That's right. And Adrian is because she's self-driven, intelligent, and a great loving auntie to her nieces and nephews. And Albert, because of your faith and dedication to your family, and all the things you went through to have Liam, and of course Avery.
Mhm.
And Danny for his determination for raising three wonderful children that they have right now, and the oldest kid, Jordan, is really loved by everyone.
Mhm.
And Monica, she's come a long way because she teaches voice and piano at the house, and that's pretty great. That's developing her talents. And then she's become an assistant management at Guthrie. That's really great. So she's really going places, and everybody else. So we're happy with our kids. They're turning out to be okay.
I think so.
In spite of our problems.
In spite of our mess ups.
No, I'll say it again. You both were wonderful, amazing parents, and I'm grateful that all of us have good attributes that I think we can learn from each other. So I think that's really important to see. And I was the last of the five, but yes, we all have college degrees, so that's pretty cool. What I wanted to ask again, like it's important, I guess, to maintain the close relationship with siblings as we get older. So I wanted to ask you both, how important would it be for the two of you to see that the five of us continue to maintain a good relationship with each other as we get older?
I have a little story I wanted to put there. When we were kids, we were always fighting, my family, my brothers and sisters. And my father sat us down one time and, he took a pencil and he just snapped it in half. And then he took the 5 pencils representing the 5 of us and he tried to break it. And it was so much harder. And he says, together we can work so much, do so much more. And because you made me point out the differences in each of you guys. But, together, the 5 of you can make such a strong unit. If you guys work together and stay together, I think it would benefit all of you. It just benefits the group,
Mm-hmm.
As long as everybody's working towards the same goal. That is. I would love to see that. Yeah. And I think that you guys do to a point. You get together as much as you can and you look out for when it's somebody's birthday and things like that. It's very awesome to see. I enjoy it.
I think, yeah, we definitely do our best to do that.
One of the things that I have a great desire for our kids to be united, like your mom said. There's strength in being united, helping each other, and keeping a close family relationship, and to remember that blood is thicker than water.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, very good point, Dan. I think we definitely will continue to build our relationships and continue to as mom said, stay close to one another. Yes, there may be arguments and disputes here and there, but I think I thought it was really awesome and great that we were all together for Claire's musical play from last month or the month before. So it was really great to have everyone together all at one place and just to laugh and have fun. So those are memories that I cherish and that I will continue to cherish as we get older and enjoy and create more memories like that.
Yeah, that's a good example. I did enjoy that night.
Yeah.
One last question that I had then for you guys. What has been your experience being grandparents? So now you have 9 grandkids, including Liam, and I'm grateful that we were able to permanently adopt him so that he can be part of our family and know of our family history as he gets older as well. So how has it been for the two of you being grandparents to 9 kids now?
Well, I've learned through my mistakes with my kids that they're all individuals. They all make different choices, and the best thing to do is just love them. And the children, you love them, they give you love in return. And we love it. We love to have the pictures up. We don't get to see them as often as it would be wonderful,
Mhm.
But they have a special place in our home, all their pictures, and we think of them often, and we think about the things that have gone on. We remember trips that we've taken and gotten a chance to see them and spend time with them. And we hope that that will happen more often. Yeah.
By the way, we're missing Liam's picture over here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to ask that. So Allison and I will definitely get you one. Just let me know the dimensions of the picture you need, and then we'll get one to you guys.
5x7.
5x7. Okay, cool.
Now, as Mom mentioned, that we one of the things that we enjoy a lot is going to see our kids in California and the ones here in Arizona. We have been there for their baby blessings and for the baptisms. And we hope that we're gonna have one baptism next January. It seems like what's the name of that? Cammy's gonna get baptized sometime in next year.
Oh, good, very good.
And Joshie.
And Joshie.
Wow.
Mhm.
So whenever that is, we'll be there. That's great. And like I said, we one of the main things is supporting, being able to support Claire in her performance of Matilda. We really like that, and we're looking forward to any other way we can support her. So we got you in our hearts.
Oh, thank you, Dad. We have you guys in ours as well. Any other last stories or experiences, or just things you'd like to share from your youth for the podcast for posterity purposes that you'd like to have recorded?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that my mother, when we were living in El Salvador, she always went with me, especially since I'm the youngest one. She took me to her job. Her job sponsored a trip to the beach in every holiday. I remember going with her by bus to those trips at the beach, and it's something that I really enjoyed very much when I was a kid. And because the beaches over there are something else, they're mostly black sand, and the waves are kind of big, that some of the surfers from the United States and all over the world go to El Salvador for surfing. I can't believe that. So that's one thing I remember about being young in El Salvador. And then we spent the whole Easter week every year at the beach. And even at night, we slept over there, and it was great to see the sky so clear and see all the stars at night. Wow, that was really something to see.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely great. Anything last that you'd like to share, Mom?
No, I'm very proud of you, Albert, for your podcast. It looks like you're having a lot of fun with it, and I like that. And I want to say to the other kids, if they're listening, that I want to support them 100% in whatever their endeavors are, and good luck to all of them. And I hope you all do well.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, Mom. Yes, has been a lot of fun for me. And this was an episode I've been looking forward to recording for quite a while, because again, I do think family history is very important, and we can have it recorded, it'll be posted, and it'll always be available for people to listen to. So I'm grateful for this opportunity that I've gotten to chat with you both, and I'm grateful and love my family dearly. And I'm so proud of all of us, what we've done. We've accomplished quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to the rest of our lives together as well.
For eternity.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, thanks. If there's nothing else. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
One more thing, Albert. One more thing.
Yeah.
I was going to acknowledge the three of you and your spouses, because without their help, their support, you can't be where you are right now. So I'm grateful for Allison and for Tricia and for Jackie for supporting their husbands in all they do at church or at work.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, the sisters-in-law, so the spouses are wonderful and great, and I'm grateful they're in the family too. And the nieces and nephews, they're all really great. Everyone's contributes to how amazing our family is. So thank you, everyone. Okay, if there's nothing else, then we'll go ahead and wrap up for today. But again, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad, for coming on the podcast. And I'm grateful that we had the chance to talk. Okay, thanks, everyone. You've been listening to the Casting for Fun podcast.